Okay, so story time. So I was in college. It was my junior year, and at this point, I was pretty much just over relationships. And
I want to get married and I want to have children. That was my goal. That was my dream.
I heard God say that was my husband. I wasn't really feeling it in the beginning, but through obeying God, everything worked out.
God is out here doing matchmaking, okay?
I'm going to share how I knew my husband was the one. I'm going to share exactly how God told me that was my husband, and I'm going to give you guys all the details because I think this is very important. So much people say that God will never tell you who your partner is. He'll never tell you who to marry. I don't believe that. I believe he can tell you who your husband and spouse is. He doesn't always, but he definitely can because he did to me, and here I am married to my husband. I'm going to share my story, even though a lot of people say God will never tell you because it goes against free will. However, God doesn't hold a knife to your neck. He gives you information, and what you do with it is up to you. I decided to follow through with that information. So I met my husband first in 2019. I visited his church twice and we spoke once. He was a youth pastor at the time, and that's how he introduced himself to me. You know, he was a youth pastor, so he introduced himself. We had a brief conversation, and after that, I didn't visit that church again. So I didn't see him until 2021. So 2 years later, I saw him in my former church before I moved to his church. He had his own church, so the days he wasn't at his own church, he'd come to my church. I didn't recognize him when I saw him again. I didn't know that was the same person I met in 2019. So I would just see him. I didn't know that was my husband. We didn't speak from 2021 up until the end of 2022. So I would see him on Tuesdays, but we'd never speak. All I knew about him at the time was he was an ordained prophet. He was a pastor. He was quite close to my pastor, and that's all I knew. In 2022, my pastor kept referring to him like as a man of God, you know, and so I decided to look on his Instagram. I saw that he'd done like lives and he preached online. He did like midnight lives where you could join and he'd do prayers. So I began to join. So I followed him. I began to join like his prayers and his lives. That was the only thing that I knew him for. I wasn't interested in him. I didn't know he was my husband. I just used to join because he'd done Instagram lives. And then I think a couple weeks or months later, he followed me back. As soon as he followed me back, I heard the Holy Spirit say to me, that's your husband. Like clear as day. Now, there's times in my life where the Holy Spirit will speak clearly to me, especially when he wants to get through to me. This time was one of those times. From 2019, I met him. I didn't hear anything. Met him again in 2021. Didn't hear anything. Didn't even know who he was. Didn't even think of him like that. Up until 2022, nothing. Something changed in 2022. That's when my doors for marriage opened. This was time for God to reveal, this is your husband. So after